What's up everyone, it's day 74 in the Big Brother house and there are 4 house guests left, but only 3 can make it to finale night. Xavier has started to show his true feelings towards Big D's game as we get down to the wire. We've got so much to talk about, folks, so welcome to your live feed update. Right before we get started, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. We are incredibly close to the goal of 10,000. I truly think we could actually hit it this weekend, which is super exciting. So, folks, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. And also hitting the like button does me a huge favour. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, which is incredibly difficult to understand. But I know one thing, hitting the like button helps me out. And also, folks, like I said before, hit the subscribe button as well, please. Okay, people, now that we are down to the final 4, of course, it all comes down to the all-important veto. Nominations are made, of course, because the head of household has to make them, but the only thing that really matters this week is the power of veto. Whoever wins the veto will keep themselves safe. If you don't win the power of veto, you will be on the block, unless you are the HOH, of course. So it really is crucial for Kyland, Azah, or Big D to win it, or they could likely be heading out the door. So listen, this is how it's going to work, right? So with Azah and Kyland on the block right now, if Big D keeps, or if he wins the veto by some miraculous chance, then of course he will cast the sole vote, and he's likely going to evict Kyland, I would say, or Xavier's been encouraging him to evict Kyland. You know, I think he was kind of going backwards and forwards, slightly thinking that, you know, I'm going to take, because Big D's in his own world and he just think he can beat anybody in the final 3. Of course, on the outside, we're probably screaming to him, evict Kyland, because it's the logical thing to do, rather than evict Azah, who, you know, he's probably got a better chance of winning against, or definitely got a better chance of winning against. So Xavier's pushing for him to try and gun for the veto, keep the numbers the same, and evict Kyland, because I think he feels that as if he goes up on the block, then Kyland will come down if he wins the veto, and Kyland's going to evict Big D. So I would say Azah's probably got a pass this week to the final 3. So I would say it's probably going to come down to either Kyland or Big D getting evicted. It really depends on who wins the veto. Now, of course, if Azah wins the veto, she'll come down and probably evict Kyland. It really is going to be a lot of backwards and forwards this week, because X knows what he wants. He wants Kyland out, but of course if Kyland becomes safe, that's going to throw a wrench in the works, and we know that Kyland is somebody who can talk a bit more, talk a bit more than TV talks with Tom, you know. So he'll keep going on, and as a result, he'll be in millions of talks with people where he can be persuaded left and right as to, you know, should we evict Big D? Should we evict Azah? Equally, Big D and Azah have shown to be, you know, sheep in this game, and they will listen to what their master says. So Xavier can manipulate them probably backwards and forwards as to who he wants them to evict. So it could be a backwards and forwards kind of week we're seeing here, folks. But from what I've spoke about there, that's kind of what's going to happen so far. If the eviction was to happen today, which it isn't, it's going to happen on Thursday. So, you know, buckle in, folks, for a backwards and forwards kind of week. I don't know if anybody's because what I've seen in the comment section, what I've seen on social media, people aren't rooting for the people who are left in the house that much. So I'm feeling that not many people are emotionally invested in this week. So I think it's going to be one of those backwards and forwards weeks that we're kind of going to be like, please, can we just get it over and done with? But it won't be, because it'll be back and forth, with lots of talking from Kyland along the way, especially if he wins the veto. But folks, that's kind of where things are standing as of now. Now, Xavier and Big D had a very interesting conversation, and X was very candid about the way he felt about Big D's game. It was almost offensive in a way to say this stuff to Big D straight up. I feel like one side you can look at it as like a reality check, and then the other side you think, wow, X has got balls to say this to his face, and you know, maybe the power's gone to his head slightly. I don't know, but either way, he was kind of saying, you know, Big D came in. I think Big D was in the yacht room, and X came in, and Big D said, I'm feeling tired, I just want to get to the final 3, you know, I'm sick and tired of this game, essentially, and, you know, he feels like he's played it hard. Big D hasn't played the game hard at all, we all know that, but he was kind of saying he just wants to get to the final 3, and then X gave him this whole spiel about how you need to stop scrambling, the scrambling has to stop now, and, you know, you can't keep scrambling, and really basically just calling Big D a scrambler in the game, and, you know, I mean, that he basically scolded him there, and it was kind of, I don't know, it seems weird. I feel like, you know, I don't know if X is trying to keep Big D under his wing, but that's pushing him away more than keeping him under his wing, because Big D's in his own world, and if somebody tells him something that he doesn't believe, that he isn't the mastermind of this game, that he thinks he is, then he's probably not going to take it too well. So I don't know if that maybe did X some damage there by him saying that. And also, equally, you've got to look at it as if, you know, is X saying the right things here, or is he just in a situation where the power has gone to his head and he feels he can say anything to anyone? Because that can often happen in Big Brother. Look at Frenchie on week 1. That was, you know, he barely knew these people for 24 hours and he was already saying whatever he wanted. And, I feel like X maybe is thinking that. I think he maybe is thinking that the game is served to him on a silver platter right now, which it kind of is. But it didn't harm him from accusing Big D of scrambling and telling him to stop scrambling. I feel like the better approach would have been someone like, if Hannah was there still, I know Hannah's tactic would have been something like feeding the ego of Big D and saying, "You're doing so great, Big D. Keep pushing. You're doing brilliantly." Because people like Big D like an ego boost. Everybody likes being told that they're good at doing something. Everybody likes being told that they are good at something, or they are excelling, or they're just a good person. People love that ego being stroked. And, sometimes in the game of Big Brother, it's good to do that to people, because the more delusional somebody is, the less they're going to pick up on the fact that you're stroking their ego. Big D is prime example of that kind of thing. So X kind of scolding him is probably not the best approach. If you had someone like Hannah who was stroking the ego and saying, you might be tired, but you're going to make it, you're going to do great, that would work a lot better in Big D, in Hannah's favour if she was still there. Because I know for a fact Hannah and probably Tiffany would do something like that. But X, on the other hand, it seems like the power's kind of gone to his head and he feels like he can speak to people like that. It wasn't in a massive disrespectful kind of way, but in my humble opinion, I do think there are better approaches to that to benefit your game, if that makes sense. It's not going to be crucial to this week, but like you say, it's a pivotal point where you kind of go, you could have spoke to someone in a better way, and it's maybe a what-if kind of moment. Not too much, but, a moment where you could have made a better game decision. That's all I'll say on that one. Xavier has been continuing to study the days, and I've got mad respect for that. I've said that yesterday, and I'll say it again. I said it last year as well when we were down to the final 4-ish, and we saw certain people studying the wall and, studying the days more. I remember last year Enzo didn't really do much of it, and even though I wasn't a Cody and Nicole kind of fan, I was rooting for Enzo. I respected Nicole and Cody more for the fact that they were actually studying the days, because that shit is so, let me just get close to the mic, so important when it gets down to the wire. Because that's what comps are at the end. It's remembering the days, and that can be your ticket to winning $750,000. And he said 250 there. It can be the ticket to get that money. It can be the ticket to become the Big Brother champion. It will be the ticket to become the champion and the winner of Big Brother 23. And if you can't spend time, all the time in the world that you've got in the Big Brother house, it's just taking a small amount of time. I mean, realistically, you should be taking a lot of time to do it, because you've got nothing else to do in the house. So if you can't be sensible and smart enough, and you want to be dumb enough to step aside and not bother to think about the days, you don't deserve to win the money in my books. You do not deserve to win it, because it's a stupid mistake when it costs nothing. It's not, you're not like using BB books for an advantage. It's literally there. It's your head, and you have to think. You have to think just like you're revising for or studying for a test or an exam. You have that opportunity. Nobody's stopping you from doing it. And if you are stupid enough not to study, then you don't deserve to win the money. And I will emphasise that one all day long. Well done, X, for actually studying there. I feel like everybody's done a little bit of studying this year, some more than others, so I can't slate anyone too much. But well done for X doing that there. He's really positioning himself to win the game at this point, because, listen, he's automatically made it F3. If he's going to be with Big D and Azah, I would probably put money on the fact that he will win the final head of household competition, take whoever he wants to the end, and probably win on a unanimous vote, solidifying him as the winner of Big Brother 23. I really don't see another path, unless Kyland somehow managed to cut X in the final 3 if he was to get there. Who knows, folks? Who knows? It's gonna be an interesting one. But one thing's for sure: what a crazy ending it'll be if Big D and Azah get to the final 2. And let's see who the jury awards at that point. Maybe it'll be the lesser of two evils that wins, just like June and Alison in Big Brother 4. But June and Alison actually played the game, in my opinion. They both floated, and I wouldn't even know if I'd credit Big D and Azah for as much as floating, but June and Alison realised that they were on the outs, and they came together and realised, okay, we're only going to get to the end if we band together. Big D and Azah haven't even done this. They just sit together and sleep all day, and it's. Do you know what? I haven't even got anything more to add to that list apart from they sit together and sleep all day. That's just pretty much as much as they do. I know Azah does a lot of cooking. I remember Azah in the pre-season was coming in saying she's going to play a game like June from Big Brother 4. I mean, yes, she's mimicking the cooking and all that sort of stuff, but she's really not playing that June kind of game. If y'all have seen June on Big Brother 4, I've seen Big Brother 4 at all, you'll know that June did play an incredible floater game and a model example of how the floater game should be played. Azah has not done that. She had an opportunity to take out X or Kyland in the double eviction. What did she do? She simped over X and Kyland, and she decided to take out Hannah instead. The mind boggles, folks. The mind really does boggle. She had her opportunity right there. She literally, like, that would once in a blue moon that would come around. Azah beat Xavier in the head of household competition. And what did she do? She kept X and Kyland safe. I mean, if she just put X and Kyland on the block together, one of them would have gone home. But instead she decided, yeah, I'm going to put Hannah on the block because what? Because there's no reason. I don't even know. Listen, it's getting down to the final four now. And there's less and less to talk about in regards to the live feed updates because people just kind of do nothing all day and everything's kind of set out already. There isn't even enough people to go around talking and strategizing against each other because Final Four, it's every man for themselves with that all-important veto. So I do find myself just questioning a lot of the recent gameplay that has been happening and I just don't get it. I think Azah has been stupid this week. I think Kyland has been stupid this week. I think Big D's been stupid for many weeks. I just think X is the only kind of person to rightfully win the game now. That is not an attack at all on any of their personalities. I'm sure they're all great people outside the game, but man, we're here to critique gameplay, and the gameplay of Big D, Azah and Kyland has been unbelievably shocking and a disgrace to Big Brother and Big Brother fans everywhere, in my opinion. So it would only seem right for X to actually win the game now, in my opinion. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. Please let me know your thoughts on this week in the comments section below. How do you feel with Xavier as the head of household? Are you happy with Kyland and Azah being sat on the block? Who would you like to win the all-important power of veto that will change the game this week? Maybe a little, depends if people are going to be stupid. We'll see, folks, but I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comment section below. But, folks, I really appreciate everybody's support recently, and I'm going to say this really quickly again. I'm sorry if this is getting on people's nerves, but I've got the goal of 10,000 subscribers and we are so close, folks. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting incredibly close to that. 10k just seems crazy in my mind to think we started this thing out last year, and to see how far it's grown, I'm just, man, it's wonderful. It is the most wonderful feeling to know that I've got the most supportive people out there helping out the channel and watching every single day. It just means the world to me, folks. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the like button would be greatly appreciated as well, folks. But folks again there, I'll say as I always do, make sure that you're staying safe, staying positive and staying healthy out there, and be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.